in front of that light. That's why my brother will be drinking.
All right, so nobody's on here. What's up, y'all? It's me once again coming to you live on this Tuesday afternoon. It's approximately 12:30 p.m. And the caption, the description, the title, this video. What about when Dr. Martin Luther King woke up from his dream? That's a real question. So first of all, yesterday was Dr. Martin Luther King's birthday, and every year it's a national holiday. There's usually parades and celebrations in honor of Dr. Martin Luther King. There was something that we had down here in South Florida that my daughter and we were supposed to attend, but we did not get to make it. However, it's not going to stop me from getting on here and, acknowledging and recognizing some of the great things that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. did for us as a people. That's one of the people that we are privy to really get to know some of the endeavors and the things that he did for the United States of Americas. And, the amount of servitude that he had for his, not only just his race, but his people. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. taught me that no matter what, you have to stand up for what's right. Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. showed me what leadership is and, what family is supposed to be about and what community is supposed to be about and how to fight against the injustices in America, because they are real. Unless you've been under a rock for the last centuries and decades, there is an injustice amongst people in America. And it's been going on for a long time. And there are people like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. who died to stand up for us, who basically sacrificed himself in what he believed by standing up and bringing awareness to the injustices. And I respect that. I respect the fact that when people were sitting down, he stood up. And he didn't just stand up for himself. He didn't just stand up for his family. He stood up for all of us. So, I just don't understand why when people do stand up, it seems like they are a target to be assassinated. They end up being murdered, for standing up. And that's the sad part that I always felt for Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. It's like, dang, why do our leaders, why do our heroes end up having to be murdered, in cold blood? And anybody that's really done any thorough research on Dr. Martin Luther King Jr., I believe he got shot in the head at a hotel. Oh, in the neck, my bad. But there's been rumors that there was some things done to him even beyond that. And, you can do your own research when it comes to that. However, we have a history of our leaders always being taken out by them or the powers that be or the people who don't want to see positive change in America. They end up taking our people out. So that part right there just makes me real sad. It makes me sad. It saddens me because I can relate to Dr. Martin Luther King as far as wanting to see better for our family, for our community, and for our people as a whole. And I can relate to people like Cat Williams, you know, who recently did a viral interview where he talked about some of the injustices in the entertainment world. And what it pretty much is boiling down to is the righteous against the unrighteous. It's pretty much boiling down to people who are in position to make a change against, you know, we the people. I'm seeing all these celebrities, you know, getting set up and getting killed, and all these people being outed for, you know, some of the things, character assassinations, and, you know, it's a lot of stuff, vicious venom that's being spewed into the universe, but there's a lot of truth telling that's been going on as well. And Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was a truth teller. And the thing about it is, especially back in those days, we didn't really have an opportunity to tell the truth. Nevertheless, or needless to say, a platform to do so as well. So being that we do have that, I do feel like I have a responsibility to be able to use my voice and to be able to speak against injustices that I'm experiencing. And, you know, like, would you care to elaborate? Because I feel like I'm kind of talking in circles right now.
No, you're doing a great job. Like, honestly, you are. Like, and I just want to say this though. I respect Dr. Martin Luther King because when he woke up from the dream, it's like, just keep it real. Dr. King was handpicked and selected to be the leader of the civil rights movement. You know, probably by the system. That man graduated from college at 15, 16 years old. He was in a fraternity. You know what I'm saying? So it was a no-brainer. And then up to that point, other than Marcus Garvey, wasn't no history of no man. With the way communications and technology was set up at that time, it was just been by word of mouth. But he was able to pull 1 million people to the white. Anything's possible with God. That's why I respect him, because he was Christian, but then, you know, he was committing adultery. And I don't judge him for that, you know, because anytime you have to sell your soul to begin when you're young, and they give you power, they throw things at you. You see
And
what I'm
then
saying?
use it to destroy you.
And he was young. See, a lot of people don't realize something. He was just a young man, though. You know, he was young. Like, he was in his 30s when he got killed, I think. So it's like he was 16 when they recruited him. You feel me? So, like, by a certain time, his mama got killed. Somebody went up in the church and just killed his mama. So if he was wise enough by the time he got old enough to realize he was being used, he was trying to hope that God had a bigger picture for what he was going to sacrifice his life for, because if he ever said anything to get out of line, they was going to kill him. And that's what he started doing when he woke up out the dream. You know what I'm saying? He started to recognize that we were actually from here. Even though there are people that came from Africa as slaves, you know, however they want to tell the story, whether it was one way or the other. But he actually started telling the truth about how they owed us this land. This is our land, and we come to Washington for our 40 acres and a mule. When he said that, it was over.
Yeah, as long as he was preaching nonviolence
and integration.
Yeah.
As long as the agenda was sponsored by the powers that be, there's no way a man without like TV announcements and all that gonna get 1 million people at the White. I watched the movie. We was watching the movie the other day. What's that man's name?
I forgot his name. The journalist.
Man, he plays. It's a movie where
on Netflix.
On Netflix, it's about the civil rights movement. I know his name. Anyway, man, he's homosexual, so they tried to, you know, they try to put that spin on it. That it was a rumor about him and Dr. King had been together. You know what I'm saying? Like in the movie. When we think of the movie, we'll
yeah, Mary was telling me about that.
Yeah. Okay. So keeping it real, just keep it real. Dr. King was a man, but I respect him because he went on and gave his life up anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like he knew once that he told the secrets or was starting to tell the truth that he was gonna get killed. But the thing about it to me was that it's better to die that way, you know what I'm saying, than to live a lie. You see what I'm saying? And did his family benefit from that? I'm gonna be honest. You know, people they try to publicize Malcolm X family being through all kind of bad stuff and stuff like that, but that man never did cheated on his wife, man. If they did, they'd have showed it. And he never did anything wrong. You see what I'm saying? And he got sacrificed. Dr. Martin Luther King's family lived a great life after he got killed. I'm talking about their museums, all types of special benefits that have been all over the world. Man, you know, we ain't gonna play. So Malcolm X was telling the truth from the rip. Dr. Martin Luther King started telling the truth. They killed both of them. We're not gonna play. That's just the truth. So honoring them for being men in a wicked system, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, I have to do that. I can't judge them. I can't take their flaws or whatever faults they may have had and use that to assassinate the bigger picture. But see, this is 2024. This is not 1960 something. You feel me? And the reason why Dr. King was able to get as powerful as he was is because of the system, which we in this world, but we're not of it. So what happens when you're not of the world, the next generation gets the chance to be of God all the way. No confusion, no parlor tricks, no sleight of hand movements, none of that. Because we just now finding out, like all these years later, about Dr. King having affairs. Well, they wanted to slander the black man. They want to take Bill Cosby's estate with all that oil underneath it. They want to take it's an attack on the black man and woman, but they're trying to not just break up families. They trying to take everything we got, and we ain't have nothing. Only entertainers and sports stars and successful business people had something by now. It's 2024. The rest of us are struggling. We're gonna keep it real, and they coming for y'all money now. So we're being replaced. You know, good luck. Everybody trying to replace us. We like roaches, man. You'll get rid of us, bro. You know what I'm saying? Because this is our land. So by nature, we're gonna stay here. Whether y'all won't plan, plot, whatever y'all do. So really, like, this is a message of love. Because I think that's why Dr. Martin Luther King gave his life up. The man probably did actually love himself, his people, and his family, his community, and the people. And not just black people, but all people, because he professed to be a Christian. So we're going to keep it real. That man gave his life for the world. But gain the world, lose your soul. See what I'm saying? It wasn't worth it. And that's what we're telling our children right now. You know what I'm saying? It's not worth it to live secrets and their lies and find out the truth later. No, if you have something you need to say, you need to say it. If you need something, you have something you need to ask it. You see what I'm saying? And it always got to be how you say it or how you ask it. Because sometimes you can't ask it the right way. Sometimes you can't say it the right way. Sometimes you have to yell to be heard. And your head looks big, mine looks small. There we go. Everybody see how big my head is? So for real, like, I respect Dr. Martin Luther King, but I can't honor him. I don't honor myself like that. I've made mistakes. I've done wrong. You know what I'm saying? So I'm not trying to be honorable like that, because then I'll be confused and I ain't doing nothing wrong, because, you know, all that. You know what I'm saying? Because I have to learn every day. Every day's a new experience for me. You know what I'm saying? So I just had to bow down, because I was going to want to go save my son just now. I slid him a laptop in the room, but I didn't go in there though, because I know ultimately, man, that he gonna have to live without me. And what's he gonna do when I'm not around? And that's the part that Dr. King didn't think all the way through. That's the part a lot of people didn't think all the way through, because at that time they didn't have the ability to think it all the way through. But right now, we have the ability to think it all the way through. It should be a well thought out thought. And if you know in your heart something ain't right, you're supposed to say something about it. You can't live with it, because you're gonna make them live with it, your children. Because they got to live with you. You know what I'm saying? Like, in times in my life, I wasn't always healthy, so I wasn't around some of my children. Specifically my older sons, and they know that. I told them when they got older why I wasn't around. Because I could have got them killed. That's why. So, you know, I ain't perfect, but I'm forgiving, and so should everybody else be. But there's a thing about forgiveness, man. It's like a recipe for a good cake. Forgiveness requires truth, honesty, you know, and what? An apology, You know what I'm saying? Those are required for forgiveness. You got to do it with yourself first. So if I got to live with the truth, then everybody else who's part of that truth is gonna live with it with me. Because it's not, it don't make sense for me to just live with it.
And speaking of the dream, like I can relate to Dr. Martin Luther King on that part too, because it's like before I got therapy, I felt like I was living in a dream. And not just a dream. I felt like sometimes I felt like I was in a nightmare. Because when you dealing with childhood trauma and you don't get therapy for it, there's a haunting. You know what I mean? You know, there's a haunting because in my mind, part of me was still stuck at that age that the trauma happened. And I felt like there's times where I knew what happened to me as far as the molestation. But from me not getting any therapy, from me not getting any help, it's like I started to suppress it. And then it would be times where I felt like I was living in a dream. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
It seemed like I was going in and out of reality in the dream.
Yes, because like I'm gonna keep it real. It wouldn't be far-fetched to say that Dr. Martin Luther King, something happened to him. It wouldn't be too far-fetched to say. Especially, I'm just gonna keep it real, because especially if somebody could walk. No, God's talking.
I'm saying, being that you said his mom was, because that's
his mom
got murdered in front
church.
of her. That's traumatic by itself.
Yeah, but what did she do? You see what I'm saying? Like, we're gonna keep it real. This is not a game. This is serious. Something quite possibly happened to that man. That man was primed to be like, he was primed maybe even at birth for some purpose. That's not too far-fetched. Especially if he committed adultery with all them children. You see what I'm saying? And his wife was probably with it.
How many children did he have?
She had 4 or 5. A son and 3 daughters. 3 or 4, 5, something like that.
Are they all by her?
I hope so. Because that'd be really fucked up. We come up with some children from outside his marriage. But they didn't want that. They wanted him to be squeaky clean. Man, they was using Dr. Martin Luther King. You know how long he was out there doing all that shit, getting thrown in jail, getting out? Man, we was going to keep it real. If it was as bad as what my people tell me it was in the South, when they got him down in the South in one of them jails, they'd have killed his ass. Fuck it, how he keep getting out?
If it wasn't funded.
Yeah, if he wasn't supported by the liberal left. You see what I'm saying? Like, I ain't gonna go too far, but it's just an agenda. So he probably was switch hitting Bernard Ruskin. Bernard Ruskin, I think. It was Ruskin is his last name. You see what I'm saying? I think they tried to clear Dr. Martin Luther King by putting the movie in this, specifically having a gay scene with him and this other guy who's supposed to be a pastor. And then he's the guy that's supposed to be a pastor in the movie, he's actually gay. He's playing undercover. But he tried to say, no, they tried to say that it was a rumor that me and Dr. Martin, why you ain't got to say that? What the fuck you got to say that for? If it wasn't true, don't even say it. You see what I'm saying? What ain't true don't need to be said. But it was easy to throw that shit in there. Like they trying to slander this man all the way out. Because anybody thinking right now said if he was fucking around with his wife, it's possible he could have been gay. Right? That's how I think.
What's the name of the movie?
I can't.
It's Dr. Martin Luther King.
Nah, it ain't nothing. It's Bernard Ruskin. It's something like that. Somebody where he was like, what it was, he was very powerful. Like, he was a liaison between the powers that be and the motherfuckers that could move and shake whatever they wanted to happen. He was like a broker. You know what I'm saying? Like, because in the movie, they had this meeting at the NAACP. Now, he might have been part of the NAACP because he was at like a meeting with the NAACP. And they was talking about how he was able to garner hundreds of thousands of people at a time. Like, he had the power to get 100,000 people in one place.
Yeah.
Now, how the fuck could he do that with Dr. Martin Luther King? He's this big, powerful man of God that the black people was believing in. He couldn't draw no more than 1,500 at the Selma. I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying? Niggas seem like motherfuckers have been riled up and there'd been 100,000 niggas down at the Selma bus. They wouldn't, them motherfucking crackers wouldn't even thought about motherfucking beating nobody on the head or sticking no dollars with that many motherfuckers. Then nobody get beat up at the Washington March. At the Washington March, me and niggas didn't get beat up. No, it wasn't a police fucking call about no police brutality. It wasn't even close to no motherfucking police brutality. At the Man March, all the motherfucking march on Washington. Because they don't want that shit for real. They don't want them type of problems. I don't care how many guns they got, but if you make a man who loves his family have to make a decision about you or him, it's you. And being that y'all scared of us and put us in financial crutches and shackle us and chain us and to this day don't give us no real life citizenship in a country that belongs to us, you did? Y'all got to be scared of us. And you ain't scared of us shooting a gun. You scared of us doing the right thing, like staying married and honoring one another. Because that's what tears down the system.
The community.
That's what breaks generational curses. That's what dismantles the devil's plans.
But like I was telling my professor when we was talking about it, like families facilitates politics, community. You know what I'm saying? We are the foundation of it all. And so that's why there's such a brutal attack on the family.
Yeah, and this is a matriarchal land. Like, sorry, babe, I love you, but it's the truth. Women ran this country. When it was just us over here, the Aboriginal people that was here, you know what I'm saying? Women ran things. It was councils of women that made decisions about how we live, about what we did, about the decisions and all that. And it was okay with the men because we didn't have to fight each other. There wasn't no wars or jealousy and people having sex with other people's wives. It wasn't none of that. You see what I'm saying? It was peace over here. Now, we had problems, but it was still peace. We didn't get no problems till a bunch of niggas came over here. You know what I'm saying? That's who came first. From over there, wherever that is. He had already been doing all kind of bad things. You know what I'm saying? So here's the thing. Who was Dr. Martin Luther King? And why did he wake up from his dream? I'm going to tell you that Dr. Martin Luther King was not from Africa. He was from here. And when he thought he was from Africa, that's the only hope was integration. But when he woke up and found out he was from here, he said, no, we going to get our land back. You watch the video. You know what I'm saying? Why he say that? Malcolm X didn't tell him that because Malcolm X didn't know for real. Now, Malcolm X knew, but Malcolm X committed to the Nation of Islam. So they was on some Eastern shit. Islam is Middle Eastern shit. They was on some Eastern shit. So he couldn't just say, oh man, we from here. But he did many times. He said Plymouth Rock didn't land on us. We didn't land on Plymouth Rock. Plymouth Rock landed on us. Mm-hmm. So that had to mean he knew. But he couldn't betray the nation or whatever principles they was expounding.
No, because it was all about black power with the nation. And then he realized some of the black power was more evil than white people. That's what it was. Yeah, that's why I respect Dr. Martin Luther King. Because he made it like, no, it's not a black.
Beautiful. Let me tie it in right now. Please let your husband. You're right. Let your husband tie it in. So we was over here. We wasn't perfect, but we was over here already before you sap suckers came over here. The white ones, the black ones, the Chinese, the mongrels, the motherfucking Asians, the Indians, and whoever's coming today. This is a matriarchal land. The time of y'all playing games is over. You will honor the matriarch. That's just what it is. And there ain't no bowing down. It ain't no motherfucking man with no pride or pussy whoop or none of that. That's just what it is. And you either gonna get down or lay down. I'm not threatening you at all, because trust me, if you feel threatened, you probably ain't thinking right. Because ain't nobody never took care of nobody better than their mama. And that's for the people who believe in the Bible, because I read it every day. It says wisdom every time. I don't know too many men drop wisdom on me. Now, I do know a few, but mostly it's been women. And if we're under attack and women been holding down to the point where they have to be superheroes, because a woman would have to be a damn superhero to think she don't need no man. You have to be. Pretty much that's what y'all been, whether we want to admit it or not. So if we can't win, come together. We can't even get along with women, with each other, with our women and shit, okay? If we can't do it, and she's done superhuman shit all the way up to now, then why wouldn't it make sense that we share power and responsibility and accountability 50-50. Because that's all a matriarch is. But in a patriarchal society, we gotta win, we gotta get paid more, we gotta be respected, God gotta be a man. Now, that's some retarded ass shit, and look where we at.
Because what it does is put a lot of pressure on with the Most High. For real, because God does. In the Bible, he always refer to he, him, he. So yeah, that's why God is breaking that.
Yeah, pressure, because we ain't living up. Yeah, because if God is a man, we making him look bad. For real, we making him look bad.
Here we go. I listened to a pastor, right, and he was saying how women aren't supposed to be pastors, that men are supposed to be pastors, and that, you know, women have overstepped their boundaries in that. And that might be true, you know, but at the end of the day, I'm telling you, this system that has been built for and by
the
capitalists.
The devil is capitalist, and religion is part of that. Because see, for real, the first church is in your heart. That's where church is. Then church is where two or more are gathered. And that's a family. You know what I'm saying? And when we have children, that's the more. And then we spread church out into the community through the example of our family. But what's happening is you niggas get to go to church on Sunday and then live like hell the rest of the time. And that ain't everybody, but it's for the ones who feel a woman shouldn't be able to say nothing in church. No, she shouldn't be able to say nothing in church, and neither should you. That's religion. That's religion. You know what I'm saying? Back in slave times, they ain't always let y'all go to church. You know what I'm saying? Shit, I guess, I don't know. Then, what I do know is I was told stories about how you would gather in the woods and fellowship and rejuvenate yourselves if you was being done wrong, or even if you was in slavery, or if you was just under oppression. Because I watched that growing up. That's something you can't take from us. That's called a barbecue or a motherfucking card game or whatever. It was always something we did together, and it usually had to be families involved, or it was going to be a shooting or a stabbing or something. Usually God had to be at that table. That's where communities were really a community, really, yeah, optimal health as well, because my whole family took care of people all the time. I ain't bragging on that because we did crimes too, but we took care of people. So there ain't no denying that shit. I'm not bragging on that. I'm being serious though. I watched it. So it had to have been something passed down. And when I found out that everybody wasn't from Africa, you know what I'm saying? I found that shit, that shocked me too. I was like, damn, for real? Black? I was looking through, because I went to college, I was looking through the fucking history books. I was sitting there seeing pictures of black people. Columbus, I read fucking history books. They said Columbus and all these other people that came, America Vespucci, whoever the fuck, when they described the people that they ran into, they said swarthy, dark complexion, copper color. They ain't say nothing about no motherfucking bullshit ass whoever y'all trying to play. There was the people here before y'all came. Who's y'all? Once again, you crackers got sent over here by black people. So y'all don't realize that. That's the game. Wasn't no white people. It was all black people. Then it became other people. Then it became other people. Then it became other people. Then it became white people. So they tricked y'all with the motherfucker y'all powerful and this, that, the third. By giving you heads up. And then they always around us playing like they one of us. So if we was trying to fight your ass back, it's one of them telling the motherfucking secrets. And then they have us kill each other. Because we figured, because they'll have us telling like
such and such a snitch.
Like Malcolm X and like Malcolm X and motherfucking what's his name? Muhammad. No disrespect, but just like them. There was letters going back and forth. It was letters that the FBI and the CIA was sending. They was opening letters and they was controlling the dialogue.
That's the same thing with the rap and the record label.
They was controlling the dialogue, fam. So there was gonna be beef, cause you got one man who feel like he built some shit up on some guy shit, and then you got another man who feel like he's been loyal all this time. Mm-hmm. So if something said smart to the other one through dialogue of mail, which wasn't probably the smartest thing to do, but then Muhammad's son went and told Malcolm X about Malcolm that his dad started fucking with this chick Malcolm really wanted to marry. You feel me?
Gossip.
No, he was trying to call. He was jealous of the relationship, so he tried to go. What was said yesterday? How can you come? You can't come in between us You can't come in between this relationship. You can't pry your way into it. You know what I'm saying? No, keep it real. Because what we deal with. I ain't gonna let you blink.
No, I'm saying, what do we deal with?
Nah,
Elaborate, expand on that.
No, I'm just saying we deal with the same type of circumstances and situations. You know what I'm saying? Where people have secrets, or they don't really care. They probably might have enjoyed it. Because if something happened to me, and my next generation under me was brave enough to say something, and I was in my latter years, I'd go ahead and say it. I'd go on and tell the truth. What do I got to lose? You know what I'm saying? She still got to live on. You're probably not going to make it too much longer. So you keeping it is you liked it. Because that's what I did. I'm not even going to judge. I'm not going to point the finger. I'm going to have 3 pointed back at me. Maybe I liked it. Maybe that's why I ain't motherfucking tell the truth for all them years. But I ain't going to lie. When the motherfucking cards was going to say, well, I told the motherfucking truth. Well, guess what? The cards are on the table. And they already flipped over. So I'm trying to figure out the delusion.
So basically, I have real life stuff going on.
Kiss you first.
Like, for real. Like, I don't want you to leave.
I'm not leaving. I'm checking on my.
Like, seriously. Like, it has not stopped. Ever since y'all know I went to a mental institution. Y'all know I was there. I spent 2 weeks there. And, I had to take a medical leave from school. Okay? On November the 10th, I was battered at school. And I didn't find out who the person was until a month later. So, yeah, I was pushed over the edge. Like, seriously. Because me not knowing who this individual was and it not being any surveillance in the parking lot that I parked in, and the incident happening in front of my daughter, it left me feeling afraid to go back to school. And now I've been cleared to go back to school. However, my school is telling me that even though I've been cleared by both my primary doctor and my mental health doctor, my school is saying that there's still a hold on my account because they have to have a meeting on whether or not I'm mentally stable to come back to school after I've been cleared by a doctor, 2 doctors. So I've been very frustrated dealing with that, because what Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. has taught me is that even in the year of 2024, we're still dealing with injustices. We're still dealing with the oppression on our people, in institutions, in our communities, in politics, and it's like, I'm not gonna lie, man, sometimes I feel overwhelmed. Hence, that's why I put a priority on my mental health, because, I'm no different from the regular person. We all go through shit. That's life. Life is gonna keep lifing. But I'm not the one to continue to stay silent. I'm not the one to suffer in silence and, bring on stress because I'm just praying for a change. How about, I use my voice, my platform, the media outlet that God has been so gracious to provide. Me use that, because I'm not going to suffer in silence anymore. I'm just not going to do it. I don't know why the hell my school has to put a hold and a halt on my education when I was assaulted and battered on school campus in front of my daughter. And now I'm not able to go back to school because I gotta wait until they meet on tomorrow, which is Wednesday, to figure out what decision they're gonna make. My whole thing is, what decision is there to be made? I was battered and assaulted. I reported it, filed charges. There's been a warrant put out for his arrest, and my doctors have approved me to come back to school off of my medical leave. So at this point, being that I'm not in school and that I haven't been able to register, and school has already started for the spring semester, and I have everything ready to go, and I'm being held up because I was assaulted on campus, and that messed up my mental. And I had to be hospitalized because of it. And now my doctors clear me to come back to school. And now I have to wait for a board meeting. And I don't understand why. So I've been very frustrated. And I have been vocal with what I've been going through by blogging and, you know, just addressing my concerns. And, you know, hopefully these videos I do, man, they really help somebody else, because this is not me getting on here ranting. This is me being accountable. This is me being responsible by doing what helps my mental well-being, and that's communicating. That's my major. My major is communications, and so that's what I'm doing. I'm communicating my emotions intelligently on my platform, and I apologize if it gets in the way of somebody else's feelings or make them feel like I'm being malicious, because I'm not. I'm not. I'm definitely being active in my healing. So if somebody else choose to live their full-grown life in trauma and feel like they don't need any help and suffer in silence, that's on them. But if somebody, on the other hand, experience trauma and they want to seek healing and get therapy and be vocal in talking about what they've experienced, that should be nothing that's frowned upon. Actually, it takes more courage and bravery to speak up and to stand up versus to shut up and to sit down and then shine someone else on being healthy. That's ridiculous. And the only reason why I'm addressing that is because this is real life. This is what I've experienced from family members who feels like my healing is a hindrance on their status. And the truth of the matter is, The truth of the matter is, some of us are so engulfed in secrecy that someone else telling the truth irritates their soul, because they wasn't brave enough to break that generational curse. And it feels like jealousy. It feels like hatred. It feels like, no wonder you cannot relate to me, because you've been hurt so bad that your heart has been hardened, and you don't relate to me because you don't want to relate to me. Not because you can't relate to me, because physically, mentally, emotionally, you may very well be able to relate to me. But spiritually, you know, when we are wrapped up in sin, we can't see clearly. And I know, because I have been guilty of that. And that's the whole thing. Like, I don't get on here trying to make it seem like I'm better than anybody. You see what I'm saying? No, I'm not. I'm not. I have sinned, and I'll probably sin again. But at the end of the day, one thing about me is I want to be better. I want to be my best self. I want to be able to overcome the traumas that I've been through in my life. I want to be able to show up as my best self every day, not just for me, but for my children, because they deserve it. And to have a family member tell you, you know, in the midst of you pouring out your heart and your soul, you know what I mean, as far as what you've been going through mentally, after they reach out to you, you know what I'm saying? I didn't reach out to this family member. They reached out to me, and I was returning the reach out. And when I reach out to this person, they pretty much tell me that I'm grown and that, you know, get over it. And my whole thing is, yo, this grown person is telling you that the traumas that they are experiencing and have experienced prior has affected their grown mind. That, you know how much emotional intelligence that takes? I know people that's, you know, senior, that can't articulate the hurt and the pain and the traumas they've been through. I know people that's been silent for a very long time that has been freed, that God has loosened their tongue, because I've been able to be truthful about what I've been through. So, you know, part of me, when I get the negativity thrown at me, you know, like, you know, I know I'm jumping around, you know, but in my mind right now, there's so many things that I don't say, because I do have a caring, authentically, I do have a caring heart. There's so much that I want to say in the way I want to say it, but I don't, because I do have respect, and I do have morals, and I do have values, and I do have codes of ethics, you know? But it's like, man, people will really try to take you there. You know, people will put the crazy narrative on you so that it dictates, or it gives other people that same narrative or perception of you, when there's people that really, really, really know me and know my character. See, that's one thing about character, you know? Character speaks for itself. And that's what Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. had. He had character. Therefore, God gave him a legacy. He's been dead for how long? And we still talk about Dr. Martin Luther King. He still has his day. He still have streets named after him, you know, because he had character. And I don't know, you know, like the title of this video, when people wake up, when Dr. Martin Luther King woke up from his dream, when I really woke up and realized that I needed help from the traumas that I had been through, my perspective, my paradigm was on a whole nother level, you know? And it's like, man, when somebody wakes up from trauma and they get the therapy, it feels like a dream. Like right now, I still feel like I'm in a dream, because my truth irritates people who live in secrecy so yeah, I can relate to Cat Williams. Yeah, I can relate to Dr. Martin Luther King. Yeah, I can relate to the truth tellers. I can relate to y'all. And I'm going to tell you something. When you stand up like Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. and you tell the truth, people, you know, the oppressor don't like that. They don't like it. It pisses people off. Well, guess what? I'd rather piss some people off by telling the truth than to continue to get pissed on. Because Dr. Martin Luther King got shot in the neck and was murdered in cold blood. So I don't have to be. Okay? He stood up. He stood up. So we could be able to get on our platforms and put our phones up and use the camera and to be able to tell the truth from the comfort of our own home. So yeah, I respect Dr. Martin Luther King for that, and that was before social media. That man put his life on the line. He died for what he believed in. He died for telling the truth. And you know what? In 2024, we still got the people and the oppressors and the powers that be who are living in secrecies behind the scenes, that's still pulling strings and still doing devilish shit. To spin a certain narrative on people who tell the truth. And that's sad. Now, if that ain't hate, I don't know what is. It just seems like we're living in a time where people feel like in order for them to shine, you know what I'm saying, other people got to be less than or viewed less than or you know, viewed as crazy, you know, instead of saying, I apologize. It's like, damn, I'm just fascinated how people will use so much negative energy to cover up. And it's like, wow, you know, when you wake up, it's like, damn, have they been living their whole lives like that? And that's not really, that's really none of my business. But what is my business is me standing on what I believe in, and me practicing what I preach, and me standing behind what I know to be the truth. gonna tell you something, man. When you standing up on truth, when you look behind you, man, and you see who's standing with you, it's very interesting. It's interesting. It's interesting to see who's standing against you, too. I'm just realizing that relatives is one thing, and family is something totally different. I got a lot of relatives, but ain't all of them family. And that's the truth. I got relatives that don't necessarily make you a family just because you're a relative. So, family is one thing, and relatives is a whole nother thing. So, I used to think that you don't choose who your family is, but I'm realizing the older that I get that no, you do choose who your family is. You might not be able to choose who your relatives are, but you get to choose who your family is, because sometimes family, not all family want to see you win. I mean, not all relatives want to see you win. And the family that I have, they want to see me win, and I want to see the same for them. That's my family. My family is the people that won't see me win. And, I'm just like, I'm hurt. I'm hurt. And I know people keep saying hurt people. But the thing about it is I don't even want to hurt nobody. So if my truth hurts you, then maybe you need to reevaluate your truth. Because I'm not trying to be hurtful. I'm not trying to be malicious. I'm not trying to be any of that. What I am doing and what I have done and what I'm blessed to have done is to be able to still have my sanity. And that means everything to me. Because the devil tried to attack that. And, the approval that I once felt like I needed, I don't feel like I need it anymore. And I'm grateful for that. Because, sometimes we'll find ourselves trying to gain the approval of people that we'll never get the approved by. You know what I'm saying? And that's okay with me. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that. Because as long as God approves, I'm cool with that. As long as I'm not hurting anybody, I'm not hurting myself, I'm not wishing ill on anybody, I can live with that. I go to sleep every night just fine. But, the fact that me being truthful to myself and to other people, and the type of response that I've gotten by people that's close to me, it's like God has allowed me to see that, and I can't dismiss it. I don't dismiss it. I'm in school, I go to a university, and I've been able to learn how to read closely. So I'd be a fool to dismiss my education, the wisdom that I've gained. And, I've been around certain relatives, and the response that I get, I'm just like, oh, okay, interesting. And I don't have no hate towards nobody. or any of that. I still got love in my heart, and that's a blessing. I don't wish nothing bad on nobody. Apology would be nice, but I don't wish nothing bad on nobody, and I don't think I'm better than anybody. There's a lesson in this for me, and I want to know. I want to learn it. But at the same time, I'm not no victim, and I'm not gonna live like one. So, my truth is pissing some people off. I'd rather piss some people off than to be pissed off. As long as I know I'm not being malicious and I'm not being disrespectful, or maybe I am. You know what I'm saying? But it's not unwarranted. Sometimes disrespect warrants disrespect. But I'm not trying to be vindictive, man. If anything, I want to be healthy enough to continue to be a wife and a mother to my children. And that's it. And still speak my truth. You know what I'm saying? It's my truth to speak. And, you know, it is what it is. If your skeleton in your closet, you know, is bothering you, then maybe you need to reevaluate your life. But to keep trying to put the narrative on me that I'm crazy and this and that, first of all, that's disrespectful to me, because I do have a mental disorder. So that's disrespectful to anybody that might have a mental illness, is to call them crazy. That's disrespectful in itself, especially when they're actively involved in their healing. So we're not going to talk about disrespect. We should go ahead and just, you know, sweep that under the rug, because it was disrespect long before I ever said anything. The disrespect that I was already there. So I ain't putting no names on this. You know, I don't have to. I don't have to. God knows. God knows the truth. And it is what it is. But these videos are very necessary. They're necessary. They're therapeutic for me. And yeah. So, you know, I keep hearing people say, oh, you grown, you know, and you this and you that. And it's like, damn. You know, I'm just realizing how cold-hearted people are. For real. And how, you know, living in secrecy, you know, it's like, man, it's like people put this big emphasis on secret societies and stuff like that. And for me, it's like, if you live a life in secrecy, then you're a part of a secret society. Because I live my life in truth. So I can't relate. Maybe that's the part where we can't relate to one another, because our lifestyles are totally different. One thing about me is, you know, if you ever want to know the truth about me, all you gotta do is ask. That's it. I don't throw rocks. I don't hide behind, you know, I don't try to hide behind people. I don't do none of that. So Mirror TV, I'm live and in living color. You can always reach out. I'm not unreachable. If you ever want to sit down and have a conversation, I'm always open to that. My major is communications. So, and yeah, I'm grown. But if you have a grown person saying, hey, this happened to me. Hey, I'm experiencing this. You know, maybe there's some wisdom in that. And instead of you just saying, dismissing it to, oh, you crazy, or oh, you're grown, or oh, just get over it. Everybody don't operate the same. That's why we have mental illnesses. That's why we have different, you know, levels of therapy and stuff, because everybody's not the same. And I'm sorry, I'm not the type of person that can just go through life and just get over it. I'm not that type of person. I'm not. And if I respect how you are, then why can't you grant me the same respect? So that's where I'm coming from. I've always been an observant person. I've always been slow to speak and quick to listen and observe and hearken. And I've always been that way. Anybody know me knows how I've been. You know, and I ain't changed. I have not changed. So yes, Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. had a dream. Yes, you know, he was assassinated. But, you know, I feel like Dr. Martin Luther King's dream and what he stood for didn't go in vain, because you have people like me that's still standing. I'm still gonna stand. My daddy said if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. So, you know, for anybody out there that, you know, have any type of insight of what I'm going through with my dad know who he raised. He knows that. And he did not raise a coward. He did not raise somebody who's just gonna lay down and just gonna get over it. He didn't. That's not who he raised. And I'm damn sure not raising mine to be like that. So, you know, I don't know, man. It's just like we'll get to a certain point and we'll try to communicate, and for some reason it just falls down, because it always ends up to be, well, you grown, or your husband is influencing how you feel, or it's never just like, we can't never just break that barrier. And it's unfortunate because, you know, there's children involved. It's like, you know, yeah, I'm grown, you know what I'm saying? But the things that I've been through and the things that I had to endure, and how it has affected my life, you know, I feel like I'm brave enough to say, hey, I need help. Brave enough to get the therapy that I need. Brave enough to speak out and maybe be able to help somebody else. But you know, what I can't do is just not do nothing. Not say nothing. You know, stress is a silent killer. You know what I'm saying? It's killing us. It's taking us out. So no, for my mental peace and well-being, I'm definitely going to be active in my healing. Especially coming from a young lady who had to experience early death of her mom and had to figure out a lot of shit on her own. At this point, you know what I'm saying, I'm emotionally intelligent enough to be able to speak how I feel and to be able to get the help I need as a grown person. So all that, oh, you grown and that's crazy and this and that. No, I don't shun people like that and make it seem like they crazy because they actively getting help. So yeah, I can relate to Dr. Martin Luther King for standing up and standing on what he believed in. You know what I'm saying? I respect that. I respect Cat Williams. I respect certain people who's just, you know, living in their truth and standing on it. So Dr. Martin Luther King died so I don't have to. So I can sit here in the privacy of my home and tell my truth on my platform. So don't nobody else gotta die. Or none of that. How about we get to live? and see what happens after Dr. Martin Luther King wakes up from his dream. So, yes, I'm still facing injustices just like everybody else. They tripping and they hold me back from my school. And, you know, life is still life. So, we get up off of here. But after Dr. Martin Luther King woke up from his dream, then what? After Jesus died for our sins, then what? Because all we do is talk about, oh, well, Jesus died for our sins, but then, yeah, how we live after that? That's what I want to know. What happens after the dream? I'm tired of just seeing people die. What happens after they sacrifice their life for us? What do we do? Do we continue to sit down and allow the injustices, or do we stand up? Well, I'm definitely standing up for me and mine. And I'm definitely going to continue to ask God for his grace and mercy while I do. But this thing about just doing nothing and, oh, because my daddy did me like this and I went through that. Nah, I don't roll like that. No, I said something then, and I'm saying something now. And that's what it is. So, you say I'm grown now. Well, what about then? Was I grown then? Okay, so if I'm grown now and I wasn't grown then, then who's responsible? Where's the accountability? Because now you can say I'm grown, but what about then? Maybe that's why there's no statute of limitation on molestation. Maybe that's why. So yeah, that's a good question. Just thought about that. If I'm responsible now, then who was responsible then? Because I've been going through, I had to go through, 38 years of trying to figure the shit out. And my thing is, dealing with childhood trauma. I mean, whoever household you was in, that's who's responsible. And I didn't tell my grandma. I didn't tell her because my pedophile told me he was going to kill me, my mama, my grandma, and my whole family. Therefore, when my dad came and got me, when I felt protected, I told him. That's why I waited. And it don't matter if he was here, there, or in Afghanistan. He was responsible because he's my dad. So for that family member who tried to say, oh, well, you grown and he wasn't there, and now, no, on my birth certificate, it says Darlene Hall and Frank Hall. So that makes my dad just as responsible, even more so responsible, because he came and got me after my mama died. So that meant if you came and got me from my grandma and she wanted us to stay, and you came as the parental figure to come and get us, and you was married, you had got remarried, then obviously that meant that you felt like you could provide a better, life for us. So when I told you, that's why I'm not holding you accountable. Obviously, because of my mental issues and what I'm going through because of that, is holding you accountable. So y'all want to keep saying I'm holding him accountable. No, I'm not holding him accountable. The law of God, God's law is holding him accountable. So, like I said, he knows who he raised. an apology would have been nice. That's all. That's all I asked for. That's not even a mention of guilt or the truth. Just to say, I apologize for what you went through. When I was around, when I wasn't around, I apologize because I didn't know it would affect you as a grown woman. So, I have not proceeded in any legal advice or anything. So, there's still a chance for some reconciliation. But this keeps spinning the narrative. She's crazy when I've already been evaluated, and they said on my paperwork that I was hospitalized due to childhood trauma and trauma from school. So we're not gonna play. And the only reason why I'm vocal is, for one, it's my First Amendment right. Let's get that understood. Secondly, because I'm telling the truth. And third, I'm not gonna play with y'all. I don't play them type of games. So third, because it's necessary. So, like the title says in my video, what happens after Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. wakes up from his dream? Ask yourself that question. And until the next time, remember, optimal health is wealth.